Okay, I'm back. Tired and sunburned and everything that is. But in the cases everyone wonder, I will continue this story. So, shall we get on to it? Monster by Blackwing. Bond was gone alone in his cell. Nightshade felt a familiar, annoying presence and heard a voice. Aww. Damn it, Lyra, he said quietly so the guard wouldn't hear him. How long have you been there? The whole time. I have to say, you made quite a cute couple, she said teasingly. How are you in my mind? Are you asleep? It's the middle of the day, he asked in his thoughts, somewhat annoyed that she was bothering him during the day. Actually, since you keep locking me out, I borrowed some books from the library about telepathy. I'm meditating right now, and I was able to contact you since you weren't blocking me out, she explained. Ah, right. He had completely forgotten about to put up his mental barrier. Doc expecting visitor. Well, since you're here, want to tell me something about Earth? That got her attention, and she began getting excited. On Earth, when you talk in to people having a heart to heart, you leave. It's impolite to eavesdrop, he thought at her with an angry tone. Oh, come on, you two were just adorable. Hey, wait! She was cut off in his mind blocked off again. Nightshade sat in his cell, another hour bored. At least he didn't have to listen to Lyra, though. He figured it might have been a while for the princess to get around to him, since she probably had the other responsibility to deal with. And he wasn't going anywhere. When the time finally came, the guard lowered the barrier, put on a pair of magic cuffs with dual purposes of restricting movement as well as preventing magic. Not that he had any mind. You can never be too careful. He let them cuff him willingly, not wanting to make things worse for himself than they already were by resisting. Besides, they hadn't checked his pockets, and unknown to them, he had a bobby pin and knew how to pick locks. Since there wasn't very much crime in Equestria, lockpicking was unheard of skill. They brought him to the throne room, hands behind his back. Princess Celestia was finally ready to see him. He entered the throne room, and the guards left him there as instructed, closing the door behind them. For a while, the Sun Princess just looked at him intently, and he returned her gaze. Then Nightshade felt a familiar feeling in his mind. I bet to this, it was much stronger than Lyra. Great, the princess is a telepath too, he thought to himself, having a sudden feeling of disdain for the magnificent form in front of him. Slightly upset at not being able to break into his mind, Celestia was first though to speak. What's your name? She had a soft voice, yet demanding tone. You know, even though I already know who you are, it's highly impolite to demand someone's name before offering an introduction of your own. He decided to make himself seem civilized as possible, showing that even monsters can have manners, but also not be a pushover. He decided on being on mild class ho, and it is also implied to peek into the minds of others, especially when they have made it clear that you are not welcome. At this, the princess was surprised and tensed up a bit. How? She asked. Are you a telepath also? No, but I have more than enough experience dealing with them, in form of a very annoying psychic stalker, he explained. Very well. I apologize for my manners. I am Princess Celestia. I rule Equestria, along with my sister Luna, whom I believe you already met, she said in a regal tone. Indeed, quite charming. As for myself, I had another name, but that thing is a thing of the past. Nowadays I go by Nightshade, he said with a bow. The bow was impolite, was important, not as only to keep himself civilized faced, but it also allowed him to sneak his body pin from his pocket. Being quite surprised at the level of civility he was showing, she became quite sure that he was mocking her. After all, this creature had been living in the Everfree Forest, not some aristocrat. You know, just because I'm the princess does not that mean that you have to speak ill. Speak like I am. I happen to hate formalities. She desperately trying to bring the conversation down a notch, as she really hates such things. Being a princess for over 1,000 years, such talk was extraordinary boring. All right then, princess, he said. Please, just Celestia, she returned. Celestia, he continued. Let's just cut the chase then, shall we? The sooner we get this out of the way, the better. Very well. What are you? She asked. I am a monster, he said plainly, clearly annoyed at a lack of specific. She decided to push a little. What is your species? Nightshade had been dreading this question, but decided to answer in the best way he could. Unknown. My parents were both human, as is the rest of the dominant species where I am from. I, however, am not. His answer brought a mix of reaction in Celestia. One of curiosity, as well as one of sadness, as if remember something from the past. What do you mean by that? She lost her regal tone. My parents were both regular human, and did regular human things. I am different from them. They do things that I do not, and I do several things that they are unable to. I do not act the same way that they do, and I think not in the same way humans think. Therefore, I'm not human, he reasoned, feeling that she is getting nowhere, as this human was speaking philosophy. She decided to change her question. What are you doing in Equestria? She asked. Living my life, he said, in the same simple tone. As for how I got here, I'm not sure. One moment I was being hunted, the next I found myself in what's known as the Everfree Forest. Celestia was stunned. Hunted? Why would he be hunted? And why that? She finally got some answers, but it's always did bring up more questions. This Nightshade was a complete enigma. What was hunting you? Wild animals? She asked. No, the humans were. As I am different that they are, able to do things they can't. They wanted my power for themselves. They would abuse it, use it to hurt others, which is something I would not allow. If I would not give them what they wanted, They would kill me and take it, he said in a sad tone. There are very few who, given this power, would use it responsibly. Nightshade paused to give her a little time to process what he was saying before continuing. As for those who wanted it, since I wouldn't give it willingly, they decided that they would kill me in order to examine mine and more closely. By that I mean cut me uh, and put me under microscope. Celestia was even more stunned than previously. Killing someone just because they wouldn't give what they was there was unheard of. It went against her very being. Everything that Equestria represent, and running scientific tests like he was considered eagle. They didn't need them. They could just examine what them with magic. So I ran. I fought back. I did whatever I could to escape. To justify hunting me down for their own greed, they called me a monster. Throughout history, they have done similar things. Nightshade began Celestia crash course into human culture. One of the few types of humans I respect are the Native Americans. They live in harmony with the lands and teach others the same. When the settlers come from another continent came, they would have starved to death if not the generosity of the natives. In return for their hospitality, they forced them off the land and killed any who resisted, claimed them to be evil. They tried the same thing with me, but because of my power, they failed. Nature was getting angry now. The princess appealed. It was completely beyond her as how any species would treat their own kind that way. To her, it would have been like if unicorns wipe out the Pegasus because they were jealous of their ability to fly. It didn't make any sense. Surely, humans are not all like this. Celestials praying, however, gods pray that the entire species was not like this. Nightshade explained that there were good humans, like Gandhi and several others, as well as Jesus from the Bible, who in Equestria would consider equivalent of mythology. She was shocked to hear about the human treated those who tried to do good, especially given their abilities. And what's this ability of you possessing? After a long time lost in thought, trying to process the human history and mythos she had been told, she finally regained her bearings and got to the important part. My power is that I can see and manipulate the force of life. I'm able to transfer stamina, health, and even years from one to another, as well as determine someone's physical state. Through this, I can pass my own exhaustion, injuries, and age-related degradation into others, or take it from others into myself. There was no point in hiding it anymore. He had been caught. There was no longer any point holding something back. So the injury on Rainbow Dash, she asked quizzically. The very same that she inflicted on me. I cannot pass injury on to another if I'm not to have an injury on the first place. While I can pass it to another, I prefer to punish the offender, taking the literal route of do unto the others, as you could have them to undo to you. A concept that has been long been ignored. And what of Gilda, the griffin you assaulted in Ponyville? She began to interrogation. Gilda was attacking a group of children. not just random act of bullying. I had lived in the forest long enough to tell just by looking in something's eyes that they are feeling. Gila's eyes said murderer. That and she was in processing of bringing her talents down on some innocent kids. The injuries she received may have been severe. They are necessary, and from what I have heard, are already healing quite nicely. Nightshade hated Gilla and spoke with a spite in his voice, something Celestia picked up on. True, eyewitness reports that they state that she was attacking three fillies, Applebloom, Sweetie Belle, and Scudlu, before he intervened. Now that I confirm this, it seems that your action was justified. Nightshade was a little relieved to hear that he wasn't a criminal, but he wasn't out of the woods yet. What brings to the next question. What were you doing in Ponyville? You live in the forest, do you not? Why did you come into town when you have never done so before? That's exactly why. I never been to the town before, but was aware of its presence. I originally avoided it because the first time I saw it, all the buildings were upside down, there was rain clouds pouring chocolate all over the place. I figured it was a place that was crazy, and I didn't want anything to do with it. He lied. Said this was Nightmare Night, it's called. I became interested in the commotion and went to check it out. Sticking to the shadows, hoping not to be seen, and then I saw it happen. The princess could tell that he was hiding something, but his story didn't have any contrariation. He wasn't about to tell that he had adopted Skulu. That was the reason why he was here. He didn't want to pull her into spotlight. He just wanted to have a normal. He wanted her to have a normal life. She didn't call him on it though. I know of humans. While I was still but a child, humans lived in this world. My mother and father were the rulers of the far of land. Before Quest was founded, they were a force of chaos and destruction. Many of the old legends stem from them. True. Discord, the spirit of disharmony, fed on their chaos and used to plunge the world into never-ending strife. My parents located an alternative dimension and sent every last human there, causing Discord's power to be weakened. He killed my parents, then fled for the time to recover his strength. He returned, but Luna and myself have found the elements of harmony and used them to seal him away in stone. The princess said, reminding her parents seems painful to her, but she continued her story nonetheless. After you arrived, Discord escaped and began causing chaos all over again. He was one that had changed Ponyville from what it was now into what you saw when you arrived. In fact, I believe your arrival may be the cause of his escape. Humans are naturally prone to chaos, and with your presence, you have been able to draw on your power to free himself, the princess explained. Not good. Telling by the look in her eyes was well as the way of the conversation going. He knew that was going to happen next. This was the part when she finally got rid of him in order to prevent Discord from escaping once more, in order to avenge her parents and keep Equestria safe. Knowing she was a telepath, he lowered his mental barricade, though that at her, then raised again. He began to picking the lock of his handcuff. Seemingly getting his message, Celestia nodded. Good. You understand my situation. You have done nothing wrong, and would eventually done us a service by rescuing those three and allowing us to arrest Gilda. But unfortunately, you cannot be allowed to remain here. If Discord escape, all of Christia will be endangered, and I cannot allow that to happen. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid to have to send you back to your own world, she said suddenly. Nightshade had already picked the lock on his cuffs. It wasn't a magical lock, just regular ones. One had handcuffs were enchanted. The enchantment was to prevent magic in the first place. Keeping his hands behind his back, he opened the cuffs and readied them. But she wasn't close enough yet. He wanted to buy more time. You know that I'm being hunted, but you don't know what extent they will do too. They have found a way to prevent me from using my powers on them. They have weapons I cannot overcome with them. To send me back would just be a death sentence. Maybe he could still talk his way out of this. Celestia stepped towards him. I know that it will be difficult, but you have survived there before, and I believe you being able to do so again. She stepped right next to him and placed her horn on his head. You know why you must go. I only hope that you can forgive me for what I'm about to do. Celestia said as she closed her eyes, and her horn began to glow. And you know why I can't go back, and I only hope you can forgive me for what I am about to do, he said, quickly bringing the cuff forward and closing them around Celestia's front leg. Her horn stopped glowing, she looked in of absolute horror on her face. How is this possible? She shrieked as he fell over. The cuffs were meant for small ponies, not the size of a Celestia. Her front legs were too close to support her properly. Holding up the body pin, then slipped back into his back pocket, he said. Never underestimate a monster, he laughed, while looked for an exit. The door was locked, and there was guards on the other side. There were great many stained glass windows. Spotted that bore Celestia's image. He thought making his exit through it be a perfect way to just add insult to injury. Taking a running start, he jumped through the window, shattering it. Celestia could only look as the human escaped, and thought he must be crazy or stupid. Crashing through the windows, Nightshade didn't realize that he was where he was, because he had been unconscious when he was brought here. The place was on a cliff, over 2 miles from the window. He jumped through to the ground. Shit! All of the cattle turned their heads, looking for the source of whoever was brutish enough to use such a cursed word at such a volume passing by. Okay. I hope you have wings. Oh dear. 2 miles down. Okay, next chapter we'll probably see how he get away from that one. But my audience, thank you for listening, and I've seen a few more had subscribed to me. Thank you very much, and I will appreciate even more if more people do it. I will continue these readings, and have a great day. Zulu signing off. Bye.